Oh, there we go. There we go. There we go. All right. Doing the weekly download. I just gotta figure out which number we're at here. There we go. I think this is 19. Doing the weekly download. I just gotta figure out which number we're at here. There we go. This is the weekly download. 19. The weekly download 18. Okay. What is this going to be called? I guess chord progression tricks. Call it that. All right, there we go. Yeah, let's call it just chord progression tricks. Okay, let's see if this is going. Okay, I think it's going. Yeah, looks like we're live. Okay, cool. Let's go to Facebook and see how this is going. All right, bring that in. Great. Seems to be going. Yep. Okay, cool. To Facebook, it's going on the old book face. And then I'm going to go up on YouTube so that I can see the comments from all the lovely humans. Okay, hey, there we go. Yeah, what's up, Sick Hop Studios? What's up, everybody over on the old book face? It's getting to be that time of the day around my house where the sunlight is coming in very harshly through my studio window. So I think I may do this week's weekly download with sunglasses at some point. But yeah, I'm prepared. I'm prepared for the harsh sunlight. And today we're going to be talking about chord progression tricks. So the first thing I'm going to do is just get some kind of a sound that can play chords. So I'm going to go and get Nexus, because Nexus has a lot of very lovely patches that require very little effort. And a lot of people hate presets, but presets are great because they allow you to focus on other things. Oh, hang on. Let's make sure that my sound is coming out of the speakers. There we go. There's that nice, beautiful Nexus saw wave. Okay, so, uh-oh. I want to just find like a nice kind of piano-y kind of thing. Yeah, let's try one of these. That's pretty nice. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so you can do this with any piano sound, and if you're downloading, if you are lucky enough to be a member of the Producer DJ Club and you are downloading these sounds, and the Nexus doesn't load, just load up your own piano sound. This is all going to be pretty basic here. But I'm going to show you some tricks for making chord progressions, because everybody needs chord progressions. Okay, so I have a great variety of MIDI controllers at my disposal. But today I'm going to show you how you can make nice chord progressions with no MIDI controller that sound like they're played and sound like they're, they're natural. So, I'm going to get like just one of the KJ drum loops. So KJ Saka has some really great drum loops that he is nice enough to provide for the world. So I'm just going to pick one of them. There we go. Yeah, it's just a nice drum loop that we can jam over. Okay. Okay, cool. So I'm just going to turn that down -6 dB, and then turn down our Nexus -6 dB so that we are not clipping, because clipping sucks. All right, so now I'm just going to write in a quick chord progression here. And I'm going to show you some of the kind of like things that make chord progressions work. Okay, so first of all, let's just start with a chord progression. I'm just going to write in A minor because it's all white keys, so everybody can understand. Okay, so this is just an A minor chord. It's a great chord, right? The A minor chord, classic. It's used all the time. A minor is all white keys starting from A going to A. It is like the archetypal minor scale, okay? So I'm just going to write in A minor because it's simple and everybody knows A minor. Now this chord seems a little basic, right? Right? Actually, you know what I'm going to do? Before we get into this, I'm gonna show you how to force a scale to be in a scale. So first we're going to take the scale plugin. We're going to put the scale plugin first. So basically the scale plugin, how the scale plugin works is imagine that this is an XY axis of two piano keyboards. So you see how there's like black key, and then black key, black key, black key. So imagine falling in the top and then going out the right. You see how it's black key, black key, black key, black key, black key. So it's like a piano, you know, 2 black keys and then 3 black keys. So if you go like this and you make it so that none of the black keys translate to other black keys, now we're forcing everything to be all white keys, okay? So this is a great way to make it so that your chords always land in the right key. You know, if you know what your key is, you can program it. There's also presets for all these different keys that are in there, and you can use that to force all of your notes to land in the right key. And that becomes very useful when you use, for example, a chord plugin. So if I go to 3 and then 7, right, that is a minor chord. So whenever I play any of these notes, it's going to generate a minor chord. Right? So that's going to force them all to be in the scale. Whereas if I take this off, there's generating all kinds of notes that are not in the scale that I want. So the scale plugin here, it just cleans up all the mess. So like let's say I sequence the notes badly, or if I was playing on a MIDI controller and I fuck up and I hit a note that is not in the scale, the scale plugin will just clean up all the mess. Okay. So now if I take these chords, like typically when they're sequencing chord progressions, one of the things that happens is people will make a chord, and I'm just going to duplicate this chord and then move it up 3. And then I'm going to just duplicate that again. This is the kind of thing people would sequence. Right? So that sound, it has like a really kind of basic sound to it, right? Because basically keyboard players, they don't just move their hand. Like this chord progression would be like you made a claw shape with your hand and you just kind of moved it awkwardly up the keyboard. Right? That's what this would sound like. So keyboard players, they'll do what's called inverting the chords. So you want to basically make your chords, make the notes as close to each other as you can make them, and then it's just a little bit more natural. So now what I'm going to do with this second chord is I'm going to invert this. So I'm going to take the top note and I'm going to put it down an octave. So now I'm going to maybe invert this one. No, it's not such a big deal. What if I invert that one? No. How about this one? Oh yeah, that's a little closer. Now, what if I take that one down? So you see how that sounds a bit more natural, right? So imagine you're using the claw shape, like, you know, see like a claw with your hand, like you got like 1, 3, and 5, the 3 notes of the chord. Imagine you're moving that claw around. This is a little bit more of a natural way to move it around, because you can see that whoever the keyboard player is, their fingers they're not moving as much as before. So compare this sound. Compare that to what we used to have, which is this. Like that's a bit awkward when compared to this. So basically, one of the best things that you can do with your chord progressions is start to invert the chords, and you invert them by taking them up and down an octave. And if you hold shift and then press up and down, that if you hold shift, that pops them up and down an octave. So you can basically experiment with moving them up and down, and you want to make it so that each of these notes is as close as it can be to the other notes. So like this is, it's only a 2 gap here. Actually, that's only a 2 gap there. And you know, if you work on getting your chords to have this kind of cyclical feel, where you're not like, you know, it's like a cyclical feel where it feels like it's can just kind of loop back upon itself and your hand isn't moving too much. That's kind of something more like a keyboard player would naturally play. Okay, so that's one thing that you can do to make your chord progressions sound a lot more natural, right? Now these are basically just triads. This is kind of like what you do with your right hand, but like let's talk about what we're doing with the left hand. So I'm going to copy and then paste, and you see how nothing happened? Well, if I press shift and down, now it pops out a duplicate. Okay, that's one of the greatest MIDI editing tricks of all time. So like let's say I want to take this note, I go copy and paste, doesn't make a difference until you move it. And that's how you duplicate notes in place. So I'm going to do that to all these. So copy, paste, duplicate. So now now pop these all down an octave. And by having this one at the bottom, it lends to that cyclical feel, because when it comes back up to here, it feels like a nice return, a nice resolve, you know, returns nicely. Whereas check it out if it just goes up. That's a bit awkward. But I think it was better like this. Oh, Steve asked, why do I keep looking at the front right? That's because the computer that's doing the streaming is up there, and I'm just making sure that my volume levels and everything are okay. Yeah, here, I'll just show you. I'll get the camera. So you can see there's another laptop up there. That's the one that's the broadcast station. But yeah, up here, that's broadcast world. Oh, hello. The sun's fucking it up. Yeah, the sun's messing the camera up. But basically, that's why I often look up to the top right. I'm just double checking my volume levels and everything. So now you know. But yeah, if you broadcast off the same computer that you are recording with, it tends to mess everything up. But yeah, that's why I always end up looking up to the top right. Good question. Very observant, Steve. Okay, cool. All right, so that's a bit more of a natural chord progression. Now I'm also going to take these ones and I'm going to invert it again. Let's try this. I don't like that much. Let's try putting these ones up high. But yeah, see now, Now I'm spreading it. Now I'm spreading it out, right? So it's the same triad, but because I've inverted the chords a bit, and then I've put a high voice and a low voice, this is starting to sound kind of nice now. You know, it's like starting to sound a little bit more of like an epic kind of chord progression, like you'd hear in a song, as opposed to just someone moving the claw around. Okay, so now this is all great, but let's say we want to know. Well, here before we go into too much more detail here, I'm going to duplicate this channel now, and I'm going to just isolate the bottom voice by turning all those notes off. So now I have an extra copy of the bass, and then I'm going to go into this one, and I'm going to take the bass out. So now here, I'm going to go find a bass patch, because this is just the bottom note. So now I have just the bottom note on this channel, which is, I'm going to make pink, and then this is just the top 3 notes. So on this bottom note here, let's just go into like one of these kind of, let's just find some stock bass patch, like yeah, basic saw maybe. No. Oh, this might be a little low, so I'm going to select everything and then put it up an octave. Yeah, I'm not really crazy about any of those basses. Let's go to the dubstep ones. Okay, that sounds good, but there's way too much high end, so I'm going to take the highs out. That's kind of nice. I think I'm going to go back to this one just quick, because I don't really want to spend too much time on this. Yeah, that's better. This could probably come up another octave. Yeah, that's better. Okay, cool. So now revoicing some of the voices where, so this will be bass. So now I'm going to also revoice the top. So I'm going to duplicate this again, and this will be top, and this will be mid, and bass. So in the mid, I'm going to go in and mute the top note. And then on the top channel, which I'm going to make, I guess this yellow color. Yeah, and then this should be pink. Okay, so now the top, I'm going to mute those mid notes. Okay, so then this top, I guess I'm going to just put like maybe a violin or something. Yeah, there we go. This acoustic guitar patch, very nice. So now we have a acoustic guitar for the top note. We have this piano for the mids, and then we have a sub for the bass. Right, and you can see it just sounds like, it sounds a lot more like something a band would play when you split the voices into, you know, bottom, mid, and top, right? So I'm going to duplicate this mid channel again, and then I'm going to go in and activate all the notes. I'm going to change this to ARP, okay? And then I'm going to make this, I guess, this color. Yeah, let's make that color. Yeah, come here. Okay, and then if I put an arpeggiator in here, and then I go into Nexus, and I'm going to just change this into a single layer lead. I'm just trying to use like the most basic patches so that you know, you can recreate this without Nexus. Okay, so now make it faster. sit on top. Now. Right? You can see the way those are all sitting pretty nicely in the mix, because these are all voiced differently, and then this one is one group that kind of goes through all of the notes. And now if I bring these closer together, right, this will kind of help this a bit too. Yeah, that sounded nice. Now I can change these up. But yeah, so that's kind of one way to do that. But it sometimes is nice to have all these things in one, like, 'cause, okay, so one of the other things that's making it really obvious that this is sort of you know, a sequenced chord progression is the fact that all of these chords change right on the bar breaks. And typically if you're in a band will kind of avoid doing that, you know, because it just seems a bit trite, you know, a bit tacky, a bit like cheap. So here, I'm going to spread this back out again, and I'm going to show you how. Now here. Oh, here, let's break that. So now I want to make all of these into one channel, okay? Because these are all basically riffs off of the same MIDI, but you can make them all into one channel. So check this out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to group this. Right? So now this is going to be ARP, and then I'm going to put them all into one channel. So I'm going to take this Nexus and bring it over here, and I put it in here, and then I want it to just take the bottom note. So if I go into the key split here, I can tell it which instruments take MIDI from where. So the ARP, I want to take the full range of MIDI, because, right? But this bass, I want to just take the bottom. So if I go here in the chain selector and I expand the key, I can tell it to just take the bottom notes. Right? Now. And because this is pitched down too much, I can pitch it back up with a MIDI pitch plugin. Right? So now I don't need this bass channel anymore. Now let's take this mid channel and let's put it inside the ARP. Okay? So then this will be mid. And now I want this to just take the mids. Right? Now I'm going to take the top and I'm going to put it inside this channel. Right? And I'm going to tell it to just take the top notes. And then this will be top. Okay? So now, instead of having all these channels, I can delete those. Now we just have one channel that is doing our whole chord progression. How sick is that, right? So now, now that we have them all into one chord, you know, stack, where we have our high voice, our mid voice, our low voice, and our arpeggiator into one stack, right? Let's break it up, because the way these are just all on the line breaks is awkward. You know, people wouldn't normally do that. So or a band wouldn't normally play like that. It's like, it's cheesy to have it be like, here's a chord, here's a chord, here's a chord, here's a chord. Like, it's just a cheesy way to make chord progressions. It doesn't sound cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to split these, all 4 of these chords, so that I have 4 MIDI clips, and then I'm going to take these and I'm going to put them over here into the session view. And now we're going to turn this into a musical instrument. So I'm going to key map 1, 2, 3, and 4. Here, I'll go 5, 6, 7, 8 in case we decide to add any extras. And then each of these, like number 1, I'm going to just go like this. Oh, sorry. And then crop it. And then make it longer so that I can hold that as long as I want. Same thing with here, number 2. Go like this, then crop it, and then make it long. Number 3, I'm going to crop out the 3rd chord. and then make it long. And then number 4, I'm going to crop out just the last chord, and then I'm going to make that long, right? And now each one of these, I want to change their launch modes. I'm going to put them on launch mode gate, quantization none. And now, when I play them, now that's something you can play, right? So here, let's check it out with, here, I'll put the count in on, and then I'm going to just play in a riff. Here, let's make a little bit longer here so that I have some room to jam. And now I'm going to just jam in this whole big chord stack. I think that last one was the one, like this. Okay, so I'm gonna just join all those and then quantize everything. Yeah, that sounds a lot more natural than any of the stuff that I come up with before. So let's say then that I want to create a couple variations of this. Well, what I could do would be to go into here, and the ARP really is the thing to automate off and on. So if I go into the chain selector, I can just automate that off and on. So I'm going to right click and go show automation, and then I'm going to just turn that off. So we could have one section that's like no ARP, and then one section that has the ARP, and then we'd have this. Oh wait, hang on, come here. Come here, you. Why are you not quantizing? Oh, I see. Quantize. Oh, hang on, it's being a bit funky. Where are my quantize settings? Ah, there we go. Current grid. That's what I want to quantize to. I'll probably have to do it to this one too. Sorry, I must have been quantizing triplets earlier. Anyway, so now you get like much more natural sounding chord progressions when you you kind of move the shifts so that they're not all right on the downbeat, change up the voicing, add inversions, etc., and make your stacks like that. So those are that's just real quick a few different ways that you can make your chord progressions work a little bit better. Okay, so if any of you have any questions, let's do question time, and then I'm going to call that a weekly download. So what is going on in the chat rooms here? Okay, so Alex Edens, I know you're a busy dude, but maybe you could check out some of my tracks when you get a chance. Okay, I would love to check out some of your tracks, and track feedback comes with a $5 donation at my Patreon. If you go to patreon.com/Chord patreon.com/illgates, and you pledge $5, and then message me with your tracks that you want feedback on. I will happily give you track feedback over on Patreon. So just use the Patreon message board. I get a lot of requests for track feedback, and that was the solution that I came up with, because that's there's only so much I can do. Try and do a lot for free, but there's only so much I can do. So Alex Edens, if you want track feedback, go to Patreon, Patreon, patreon.com/illgates. Make a $5 pledge. That gets you a bunch of stuff, including potential guest list at shows, track feedback for one track, and then also access to my live streams and my discography. So if you do that, I will give you your track feedback. Okay, so other questions. Where else am I streaming? John Fitzgerald asks. I stream on YouTube and Twitch, and also on Facebook. And if you go, YouTube is probably the best one. If you go to YouTube, next to the subscribe button, there's a bell. And if you click the little bell icon, then you get alerted when I'm streaming. But I teach online, and I stream classes, or I stream my music production online, and it's all free if you're there in the moment when you catch it. But if you want access to the archives, that is available at producerdj.club and at my Patreon, patreon.com/illgates. Okay, Brandon says, "What's up, Ill? It's your boy Brandon. It's been a while. How are you?" I'm doing great, Brandon. Thank you for asking. It's nice to hear from you. I'm really stoked, man. Terminally Ill, my new album came out this week, so I'm really pumped to finally unleash that on the world. Yeah, I'm sure you've seen the links up on my Facebook, but go have a listen, man. It was like years of work. I worked with all these amazing vocalists, recorded it all over the world, and yeah, I'm really proud of it. So, I'm riding the high of putting out the new album. So thank you for asking, Brandon. Okay, Nick Asa says, "I can't wait to see what you have in store for Friday night." Yes, Friday night in Detroit, baby. It's going to be so fun. So yeah, definitely, if you are in Michigan, come out to Detroit. Well, actually, sorry, not Detroit, Pontiac, but I'm going to be playing with KJ Saka. We have hordes of unreleased tunes. I actually have a whole other album beyond Terminally Ill that's all ready to go, so it's going to be heaps of unreleased music, and then we have a live band where he plays the drums and I play the MPC. It's going to be really fun, so Nick Asa, very excited to see you on Friday. Okay, so... Kyler James Bixler asks, "How long have I been producing?" I've been producing since I was 7 years old. My parents got me a little sampler thing with little lights that would teach you jingle bells and whatnot. And when I realized I could sample my own farts and play them at my friends, I really knew what I was going to do with my life. But yeah, since I was 7 years old. Dustin J, what key do I usually write in? Any preference? Good question. Okay, so basically the lowest note that you can reliably hit on a big sound system is F, which it comes in at about 42 hertz. I'm also a big fan of Douglas Adams, and The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. 42 is the answer to life, the universe, and everything. And it's also the lowest note that you can reliably hit on a large sound system. So I'll often, I try and keep my bass notes between E and G for the real meaty ones. If you go too much lower or higher than that, they start to kind of fall apart. So sometimes I'll write in C if I'm going to keep my melody around the 4, 5, and 6 chord, because the 4 would be F, the 5 would be G, and the 6 would be A. So if I write in C, I keep my melody around the 4, 5, and 6, and then that keeps my bass notes around, oh wow, here it's sunglasses time. I told you this was coming. So that keeps the bass notes meaty. But yeah, it kind of doesn't really matter what key you're in, but just keep your real meaty bass notes between like F and A. Okay, Dylan Christopher asks, any software recommendations on learning assisting with music theory like chords, keys, majors, minors? Yes, I would definitely recommend hooktheory.com. Hooktheory.com is a great crash course in how to play every kind of melody, major or minor, using only the white keys, and it's a really invaluable learning tool. It will help you to make better melodies. But yeah, check out hooktheory.com. Great question. Chordmaps.com is also really cool. But yeah, Hook Theory I'd say is probably the best for the crash course of music theory. And then, there's always the ill methodology workshops. If you go to producerdj.market, you can buy my workshops individually, but really the best way to learn and to get access to my material is at producerdj.club. You can go check some of it out for free, see if you like it, but it is a club where you get unlimited track feedback, you get training from me, you get access to all my templates, all of my workshops, you get the weekly download, you get all that stuff. So check out producerdj.club. That's the best place to learn. But if you just want to cherry pick and buy one-off workshops, producerdj.market. Okay, so I'm going over to YouTube here. What up, Sick Hot Studios? Oh, TXT Man 23, how's it going? Okay, so Sick Hop Studio says, you can make a very convincing Nexus piano sound of the stock Ableton Grand. Yeah, it is pretty good. The stock Ableton Grand is good. Sick Hop Studios asked, do you ever play your melodies and chords in live on keys or push or the other? Yes, I do. I often use push, but not everybody has a push, and I was just trying to show people some shortcuts that they can use without a MIDI controller because, and this is why I do things for free too. I like to always make sure that people who maybe can't afford fancy MIDI controllers or can't afford music classes still have some access. So so I was trying to show people the way to do it with a MIDI keyboard. DJ Fangirl says, love you. Oh, I love you too, DJ Fangirl. Big up. Thanks. Wow, it's always nice to see girls on the stream when I'm doing geeky music stuff. There's not enough girl producers. Girls generally have much better taste than men, and girl producers are great. I'm a big fan. Okay, so this is a goofy question. What's the view out of that window behind your monitor? Oh, it's just like a suburban street. I live in San Francisco, up in Twin Peaks, and my neighborhood's actually really boring. It's pretty much Edward Scissorhands out there, but it's I don't share walls with people, which means that I can be really, really loud. Whereas if you live in like an apartment or like a townhouse, I get a lot of noise complaints. My track Eviction, those are 100% real noise complaints. And that was when I realized that I had to not share walls. So I live in a fairly boring suburban neighborhood. Okay, Mitch Brady, how does it feel to be the best? You tell me, Mitch Brady. You tell me, buddy. Okay. Aaron Marshall asks, for producing, would you recommend picking up a push or a different controller? Yeah, if you're using Ableton, push is indispensable. I would definitely get a push too. Okay. And then Beal, VXVX on SoundCloud, big up. He was expecting either an African plane or a straight big wall. No, it's a pretty boring suburban neighborhood. I'm moving actually pretty soon, though. I'm not sure. It's probably going to be either New York or LA, but San Francisco. The tech sector is taking all the flavor out of this city, man. All right, so Rick Lai says, yo. Okay, cool. So that's it for question time today. Thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. If you want to get the weekly download, you can get it over at patreon.com/illgates. You can also get it at producerdj.club. That's the best way to learn. And then if you want to be there when my streams go live, go to YouTube, click subscribe, and then click the little bell icon, and you will be alerted when I go live, because much of this stuff is free when it's live, but if you miss it, then you missed it, and you got to join the club if you want to get access. So yeah, once again, www.producerdj.club. Also, be sure to pick up the new album. I worked really, really hard on that. You can check it out at my Facebook, and you can check it out lots of places. Producerdj.com. There's a post about it. But yeah, the new album is called Terminally Ill. It's the culmination of years of work. It is the second of at least 3 albums that I have planned for 2017, and I'm really pumped, man. This is my year, baby. All right, well, hey, lots of love, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in, and if you go over to YouTube, I'm going to be teaching more students over on YouTube for the rest of the day. Peace out. Have a good one.